Year after year, Northern Ireland delivers, and once again it's provided us with some of the most challenging shots of the season. I don't even know if I can play some of these, but I'm going to find out, because as usual we're going to be looking for the best shot of the entire tournament, and we're going to find it by recreating all the shots as accurately as possible, and then playing them in the fewest possible attempts. Not only will the 2025 Northern Ireland Open be remembered for Jack Lisowski's first ever professional tournament win, but two home players faced off against each other in the quarter-finals, and Jordan Brown got Mark Allen in this awkward snooker. Not only was Mark able to escape from it, but he also pots the red, which helps him along the way to winning the frame and eventually the match by 5 frames to 2. This is looking good, but has it got the pace? Yep, just about snicked it in. That's a great start. Well, it seems the first shot was relatively straightforward, so let's step up the difficulty a little bit with new tournament winner Jack Lisowski. Not only does he pot this long red, but he finds the path through the pack of reds here, off the side cushion onto the black. I'm going to have to pot this clean and get the cue ball through the gap perfectly off the side cushion and get the pace right to stop on the black, which might even be difficult to hit this shot hard enough. After mixed success on my first few attempts, I've discovered the power isn't really a problem. I should definitely be able to hit it hard enough, I just need to stun at the right angle through the gap. And I've got it there, and it's gone about as well as I could have hoped for. Next is Tom Ford playing the perfect cannon to open up the frame. The red into the middle pocket is fairly straightforward, but on the way back down the table for a colour, he's able to remove the red from the cushion and knock it over the middle pocket, giving him a great chance in this frame, and he eventually wins the match by 4 frames to 2. As it turns out, this was just a natural angle, so it wasn't anywhere near as difficult as I first thought. How about this positional shot from Robert Milkins now, where it looks completely impossible to get on the next red, but Rob manages to power the pink in at the right angle to spin the cue ball around 3 cushions and just about make the cannon with the reds at enough speed to open them up. This is going to be a real struggle for me because I think I'm going to have difficulty even hitting this one hard enough to get to the pack as my table isn't as fast. But not only that, I'm going to need a little bit of luck when I get there to actually finish on a red, because it's not guaranteed even if I hit the cannon perfectly. What's surprising me a little bit with this shot is because the amount of topspin you have to put on the cue ball, the green is very nearly in the way. I've got about as close to it as I could there, and I've got the cannon. The white's actually on the pink spot here, so the pink goes back on the blue spot, and I've got an easy pot on the red. Yuan Sijun cues this next shot absolutely beautifully, knocking it into the corner pocket and screwing the cue ball all the way back down the table, nearly to the bulk cushion. He'd go on here to take this frame, but as we've already seen, he'd eventually lose out to Tom Ford. So let's see how well I'm cueing today, and if I can in fact get anywhere near this, or even if it's possible to on my table. The good news is I seem to be queuing really consistently here, but unfortunately what that means is I'm consistently hitting the red towards the side cushion. I'm starting to get it a little bit better now, and hopefully if I can pot it, it at least feels like I'm queuing a little bit better, and I'm going to be able to get more backspin into the cue ball. And if I can get it right, I might be able to do a bit better than previous videos and get it somewhere near where Yuan got it. But I do need to pot the red, which is becoming a challenge, but I've cued it really nicely there, it's gone in, and I think that's more or less in exactly the same spot. A similar shot now from Jack Lisowski in the semi-final. He pots this long red and screws the cue ball back down the table and would eventually take this frame for a 6-1 win. After all the podding practice on the previous shot, I've managed to get it straight away. However, I've only screwed it back to the blue spot, and I think I can do better than that. So I'm going to have another few more goes and see if I can get somewhere near the bulk line or where Jack got it, because I think I'm definitely queuing well enough to do it at the moment. I'm starting to get closer, and if it goes in, I think I've got it. I just need to find the pocket here. There it is, and yeah, that's not quite as far as Jack, but it's very nearly there. Shaun Murphy appears to be stealing one of Judd Trump's exhibition shots here, as he powers the cue ball twice around the table for position on the yellow. In fact, he actually overhits it a little bit and only just stops in time for the yellow. This is going to be really difficult for me, as it appears that Shaun was fairly straight on the black, so I haven't got a lot of angle to work with, and as my table definitely isn't as fast, especially off the cushions, it's going to be interesting to see if I can get anywhere near this one, even if I manage to hit it at the right angle at absolutely full power. Yep, I was right. I'm fairly straight on the black, and full power just doesn't seem to be enough. Although I'm struggling to both get the cue ball around the table and pot the black at the same time when hitting it at this speed. I've finally got one right, and this looks pretty good, although this is as hard as I can hit it, and I've only just about got past the blue spot, but that's all I can do really. After this frame being re-racked a couple of times, Judd Trump's had enough, so when he finds a plant and doesn't finish in position on a bold colour, he decides to attack and pot the brown into the middle pocket, screwing the cue ball on and off the bulk cushion down the table for the reds. This eventually works as he wins the frame with an 82 break and will win the semi-final by 6 frames to 3 over Mark Allen. I've got two problems at the moment. The first is I can't seem to get the brown into the middle pocket, although that seems to have sorted itself out. The second is I just can't seem to screw the cue ball on and off the bulk cushion without putting quite a bit of right-hand side on it, which is causing the cue ball to go towards the green side of the table, but most importantly causing it to slow down, which is a problem if we're trying to get the cue ball further down the table. The only thing I can do is strike the cue ball further to the left, but that's causing me to miss it a fair bit, although this is better. I've got the white a long way down the table, still a little bit of right hand side, but I don't think I can do any better than that. Elliot Slessor finds himself in a snooker now and has decided to try and swerve around the black and hit the green. Not only does he get this, but he actually pots it at the same time, which definitely wasn't his intention, but I feel like having a go at this one anyway, which I think may take me quite a while. Elliot finished in position on the brown, but unfortunately would miss it, handing the frame to Fan Gen Z, who would take the next one as well before Elliot would win it in a decider. I've worked out I could pretty much guarantee I hit the green every time, just not necessarily hit it about half ball on the right hand side, which is what I'm going for, and it's why I keep missing every now and again, but I've got it and it's gone in. I'm definitely happy with that. That's a lot quicker than I was expecting. A powerful shot from Jack Lisowski now, as he's already 3 frames to 2 in front of Mark Selby, but this red going in and in finishing in position on the green allows him to go on and take the frame with a 65 break and therefore the match. It's going to be interesting with a shot like this again to see if I'm able to hit it hard enough. I'm going to be striking this one absolutely full power, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to get the cue ball off the top cushion, bulk cushion and back down for the green. So let's see what happens. Right, I've got the pot, hitting it as hard as I can. Where's the white going to finish then? Yeah, slightly short of the bulk cushion. That's about as good as I can do though. Kyren Wilson's already won this frame when he decides to power in this double. From here he'd go on to clear the table and make a 133 break, so let's see if we can do the same thing with a double. I've powered it in okay, although the cue ball's not right. I've topspinned it too much into the cushion, but to be honest, I'm not really worried about that. And up against that, how casual is this from Scott Donaldson? 2 frames behind on the deciding black. He just doubles it into the corner pocket and just starts getting the balls out like it was absolutely nothing. That might actually score him quite well. He'd eventually come back to 3 frames all against Wu Yize, but Wu would take it in the deciding frame. Before going to play this one, I really didn't think it was going to be too difficult and I would get it within a few shots. But then I realised that the cue ball starts from tight under the side cushion and the angle's a lot steeper than I realised. I'm struggling to hit it thin enough here, as it's one of those shots where it constantly feels like you're hitting it too thin, even when you're hitting it way too straight. And I'm just going to have to hit it thinner to see what happens. That felt like I was almost cutting it down the cushion there. And although I'm getting this wrong, it should help me get closer to the pocket. Well, at least I'm starting to get close now, but it's definitely a lot more challenging than I was expecting. And the trouble is, I don't know if that's because this shot is actually quite difficult, or I'm just really struggling to find the right angle. Either way, I don't think I'm ever going to get this one, although this looks close. Yep, I've got it. So which of these was the cheekiest double? The frame was already over, but because he hits it so hard, Kyren gets 3. However, that can't compete with Scott, who gets 5, just about. This shot could have been harder, but the fact that it was for the frame makes the difference here, and it just about gets him over the line in that front, and he's obviously this week's winner. Another incredible shot now from Jack Lisowski, who's got a red close to the corner pocket and powers it in with topspin, arcing the cue ball off the side cushion between the pink and black and onto the top cushion, from where it heads towards the pack of reds. Presumably this was supposed to hit the reds and end up in position on the black, but it just breaks slightly too wide and clips off them and hides behind the reds. However, this still leaves Jack with a shot at the pink. From here he's able to make a 76 break and take the match against Kyren Wilson, putting him through to the semi-finals. Despite the fact the red's so close to the pocket, the cue ball's also close to the side cushion, which is making the pot a challenge. But the main problem I'm having here is I haven't got the setup right between the red and black, I feel, as I keep cannoning into it. This is pretty close, I just got a bit too much topspin on the cue ball, or not quite the topspin at the right time. I need to judge the arc to come back off the top cushion and hit the pack, but I keep flicking into the black because it's spinning too much. I'm not sure I have the ability to get it right at the same time as the setup to get it right, if you see what I mean. Either way, hopefully this will work itself out soon. Well, that's about as close as I'm going to get. It was almost impossible to play the same shot as Jack there. It doesn't look that awkward, but Gary Wilson's in a bit of trouble here as there's no easy way to hit the red, so he decides to play it off bolt cushion and top cushion, with possibly the intention of knocking the red past the black and leaving a snooker. This doesn't end up working out in the end as he leaves another chance for an easy snooker, but Gary would win the frame in the end and take the match. The line wasn't quite right on my first attempt and it was nowhere near hard enough. This looks better, but have I struck the red here? Did I hit the red or the black first? Let's have another look. Well, I definitely think that looks like the red, so I'm taking it. Jordan Brown doesn't seem to like any of the options on this shot, but not only does he pot this long red, he manages to screw the cue ball all the way back for the bolt colours, from where he'd make a 51 break, which was enough to give him a lead in this frame. He'd eventually take out the world champion by 4 frames to 0, so this worked out really well for him. Despite all the practice I got on similar shots to this earlier, it all seems to have worn off again as I'm struggling to get anywhere near potting the ball again. I seem to be screwing back enough on most of these shots though, so hopefully if I can just pot one, it's going to be good enough to get the cue ball back into a similar position. This looks pretty good. That's about as well as I could hit it, and I'm nearly back into the same position. A clever shot now from Shaun Murphy as he pots one red off another here, rather than playing the pot direct, which would be quite tight into the corner pocket, and it allows him to screw the cue ball back safe, which he wouldn't be able to do if he was going direct for the pocket as well. So in theory, this should make it a little bit easier to pot the red, and I don't think this is going to be too difficult. Well, as it turns out, I was completely wrong about that. Because of the awkward bridging position off the side cushion, I'm finding it difficult to even hit the red into the second red. And then I've realised you've got to hit the right quarter of the red. It's no good even hitting the right half of the red, because even that won't send it towards the corner pocket. You've got to hit about the right quarter of it. And I think it would be far easier just to pot the ball, although this probably allows you to get safe, which potting the red direct didn't. The white's nowhere near in the correct place in the end, but I just don't care. We've got a Kyren Wilson shot coming up next, right after we find Tung Jub Jub from Chiang Mai, Thailand, which is there. Despite being stuck in the jaws of the corner pocket, Kyren Wilson's decided to attack. He knocks this long red in and holds in position for the bulk colours. From here he'd go on and take this frame and make it back to 4-3 behind against Jack Lisowski. But as we've already seen, Jack would take the next frame and therefore the match. The angle on this one is quite steep, but normally I don't think I'd find it too difficult were it not another awkward cueing position. We've seen a few already, but this one's particularly tough, with the cue ball in the corner pocket and having to bridge out of the jaws. It's making it difficult to line the shot up consistently. And considering that, I think I've done quite well there to get the shot so soon, so I'm fairly happy with it in the end. A frame winner now from Jack Lisowski, who's able to take a 3-1 lead over Mark Selby by potting this long red and screwing it in to hold it short of the bulk line, with a little bit of help from the yellow. This is going to be quite an awkward shot because the angle is quite steep, and I'm going to have to really cue it well to hold the cue ball. Although after just a few shots, it doesn't feel too difficult to hold the white the right side of the bulk line if I pot the red, and it feels like I should have got it already. I don't really think this one is too difficult, I'm just struggling with it a little bit more than I should, but I've got it now and I'm on the colours. Last time you chose shot H from Mark Williams as the best shot from the Zhang Grand Prix, as he pots one red off another here along the top cushion. So congratulations to Mark for winning last time, but this week you got the chance to vote again for free using the link in the description, and I'll read out the winner at the end of the next video. But before then, why not have a look at these two videos of recreations from previous times? And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.